Hello from Bling Your Band. This video is the instruction guide for the full helmet R2D2 wrap design. This design is intended for full helmets like you see in the video. The design was made possible by generous customers donating helmets to us so we could create a design that works for most full helmets of this type. Thank you to these great people. As the video starts, I am cutting the design into two equal halves. The vinyl you will receive will already be separated into a right and left side, so you will not have to do this initial cut. During the install process, we will be cutting these vertical sections one by one. The two exhaust vents go in the very back of the helmet, and I suggest you install the vinyl in the order you see here. I'm sure the vinyl can be installed in a different order, but I've only used the method you see here, and this method has worked well for me in the 4 or 5 times I've applied this design. Notice how I have cut close to the design to minimize the excess transfer tape. I suggest you do this as well. I have one vertical section cut out, and it goes in the back of the band. It is important that I get this first section in correctly, or everything will be off. This middle joint should be placed at the fattest part of the band. I have found this design is visually forgiving with small placement mistakes, as the next section can be placed where it needs to go, but we want to do this fairly straight up and down at the start. I carefully peel off the backing. I want to bend the backing tape off the decals. I don't want to bend the decals off the backing tape, or it could put a little crinkle in the decals that I might see later. This video would have been easier and faster if I could have worked with the helmet sitting in my lap, but I wanted you to be able to see clearly, so I'm working a little awkwardly. And I can't see what the video is capturing, so I apologize that part of the work is off camera. The video is long enough that you should be able to see every step. You will notice that my fingers press the decals down from the middle. You will really want to mimic this. If you start from an edge, by the time you get to the other side of the decals, there might be a lot of stress built up, and this creates the desire for the decal to crinkle badly. Your fingers will get most of the decal down, but a squeegee is really needed to get all the crinkles out. In this video, I had just painted the helmet about 30 minutes before starting the decal application process. Paint dries to the touch quickly, but is still soft far longer. I should have painted today and applied the decals tomorrow. I had to do a little extra work in this video to get the decals down. I'm going to work around the helmet, cutting out vertical sections of the decals and then applying them. I intended for there to be about a 1/4 inch gap between the sections, so keep that in mind as you place them. Again, you see me use my finger to tack down the decals from the center, and then eventually move to the squeegee to mold the decals to the helmet shape. If you see that your initial placement isn't good, so long as you haven't actually tacked them down, you should be able to lift that section off and reset it. If you see that the top section is too close for some reason, feel free to trim it back with scissors. At some point I'm going to speed up this video as it's kind of a rinse and repeat process. When I get to the band openings, I just let the vinyl overhang. I will come back with a sharp knife and trim off this extra. You can use a pocket knife, and it would have been easier if the band had been in my lap, but an X-Acto knife is perfect for this job. Because the design is going right to the edge, make sure you Mod Podge to the edge and a little over at the end when you're complete. As you work to the front of the band, there will be some unused squares. I suggest you hang on to these till the end, just in case you mess something up and you need a replacement block. I mentioned how I had just painted the band before applying these decals and the paint was soft. Removing the transfer tape is when I paid for being hasty. The paint was soft, and soft paint can be pulled from the band, so I'm going really slow and carefully as I remove the transfer tape. The decals don't want to stick as firmly to soft paint, so I'm tamping them back down as I remove the transfer tape. Because I cut the tape so close to the decals, it is taking my fat fingers a little effort to get the edge of the tape up enough where I can grab it. I didn't want to cheat and use a knife blade to get it started, but that's totally fine, and I would have been faster if I had done that. Eventually, as you work to the front of the helmet, you will use up the sheet of vinyl you started with. It will be time to start using the other sheet. But remember to use the front section. You know which is the back section because that side is scalloped for the vents. I suggest you work around the helmet till you get to the joint as you see in the video. Once I got to the joint, I returned to the back of the helmet and started moving to the joint from the other side. That way all of my spacings look good, and any and all mismatch gets hidden by the joint. Most of the placements are not critical, and not to say this step isn't critical, but we want the two back middle sections to be close together because the exhaust vents sit in the bubbles. So right here you see me pull the vinyl over a little to maintain about a 1/4 inch gap. There'll be a crinkle, but that crinkle will go into the transfer tape, and so we don't mind. Let's remove the transfer tape and check how my exhaust vents will look. First I place the vent just to know about how much space from the edge to leave so it is centered. Then I place it. It looks good. Then I keep coming around towards the joint. Here I managed to pick up a crinkle. First I tried directly pressing it out. There's only so much pressure you can apply directly to the vinyl before it pulls and tears. So here is an advanced technique. Take some transfer tape and apply it back over the vinyl. Then you can press much more firmly. You don't want the squeegee to dig in. Keep it sliding, keep it moving. I didn't get this wrinkle out all the way, but you can hardly see what is left. This is the power of the squeegee. I could never do this with just my finger. The section by the joint is where your strap is, and we take the straps off our demonstration helmets. So fitting around your helmet will be a little different in this area. Because I'm a perfectionist, I put in this very last row. Finally, I move around the helmet, trimming off any overhanging vinyl and tamping down any stuck-up spots. I really like this design. I hope you do too. Please send us pictures of your complete helmet. I would love to see it.